Yes, so we were discussing the force experienced by the tiny magnets or these magnetic moments or these atom passing through this inhomogeneous setup. So they will experience actually some force because of this change in magnetic field, continuously changing in magnetic field, and that force is in z direction, and that is the force is actually, the force can be said as, the force will be in z direction, and that can be defined as fz, which can be like minus del z minus mu dot b. And if we say magnetic moment is a constant thing, and that way the force can be calculated, and this will be fz is equal to del bz upon del z into and with respect to the component in z direction of this magnetic moment. Okay, so this comes out to be, this value comes out to be mu z del b by del z. Okay, now actually mu z is the magnetic moment we can consider. Okay, that's okay, but we need to consider that j value, mu j. Now mu j, we already know that mu j is a composition of mu l and mu s. Okay, and we calculated this in G-man effect as well. Now let's discuss what is the value of mu j. So mu j is actually minus gj e by 2m with respect to j, and the ratio is mu j by j, and the g is the Landesi factor, and we actually calculate the Landesi factor. The g is Landesi factor is 1 plus j into j plus 1 and this, and upon 2 j into j plus 1. We actually calculated this, right? Yes, I need to remove some stuff from here. Okay, let's move further. Yes, so mu j is actually minus gj, and we in terms of Bohr magneton we can have this value mu b into 2 pi upon h, because Bohr magneton value is mu b is equal to eh upon 4 pi m is the Bohr magneton. Then mu jz, the component of this magnetic moment in z direction, in which actually we need the magnetic moment in z component in z with respect to the force experienced by this. So the possible component of mu j along z direction can be is given by this mu jz, which is actually, which can be like jz value. Okay, the projection of j in the z direction, in the changing magnetic field direction. So the mu jz comes out to be minus gj mu b 2 pi upon h mj h upon 2 pi. Then this mu jz is actually equal to minus gj mu b mj. Okay, so the we got the magnetic moment, total magnetic moment in the component in with respect to the component with respect to the magnetic field direction. Now the particularly we got mj value, because if we put jz can have mj h cut values, right? So mj upon h upon 2 pi values, and mj can have 2j plus 1 values. We already discussed that this depends on the total angular momentum quantum number, and mj can have 2j plus 1 values, right, from plus j to minus j. So thus fz, if we put all these values, the jz mu jz value into here, so fz is equal to del bz upon del z gj mu b mj. Okay, so because of this force, the atoms have a transverse acceleration, and that can be classical mechanically using Newton's second law of motion. We can have that value as az is actually equal to fz upon m. Okay, now m is the mass of those atoms, those tiny magnets. So now initially we had the Vx is the longitudinal velocity of the atom, and d is the length of the pair of the length of their path in the magnetic field. Then the time for which they experience the transverse magnetic force within that magnetic arrangement The transverse force is only within this arrangement, otherwise there is no transverse force. So that for the time t, the transverse force is actually, we can calculate it that x is equal to vt relation. Okay, this is simple kinematics. But from kinetic energy, the velocity vx of atom of mass m is calculated by setting that this is actually equal to half mvx square is equal to 2 kt. Okay, now kinetic theory, hydrogen atoms in the oven having kinetic energy 3 by 2 kt, right? But the atoms emitted in the beam have kinetic energy 2 kt, because of the reason that the more energetic atoms hit the wall of the oven more frequently and hence have a higher probability of falling on the hole of the wall through which the beam is emitted. Okay, so we can consider that the energy is they get some energy through collision on something like this, and because of that lesser probability, then this can be considered as kinetic energies not 3 by 2 kt, this is actually 2 kt, approximately 2 kt. Okay, so this K is Boltzmann constant, T is the Kelvin temperature of the oven. Okay, so they got their kinetic energy from here. Okay, they are accelerated with respect to this kinetic energy from the oven. Now we have that Vx, from here I can calculate that Vx is actually equal to 4 kt by m, and if I put my Vx value here, then T is equal to d by Vx is equal to this much. So the transverse deflection suffered by the atoms is given by, we can calculate this transverse deflection. Initially, now I can have z, del z is actually equal to mu v z initially, vi z t v I into z direction. If I am calculating the distance traveled in z direction, the relation should be something like a z t square, right? But the initial component of the velocity in z direction is 0. So that's why the z deflection suffered by the atoms is this half a z t square. Okay, now put all these value, we calculated a acceleration, we calculated time as well. So if I put all these plug in these value in this relation, the z comes out to be like this. And this depends, the deflection depends on two terms, on these terms. Okay, now this change in bz with respect to z is a, we can have this a particular value, in this particular value with respect to mu b is a constant thing, d square is constant thing. Okay, and 8 kt, all these are constant, so the value depends on j, gj and mj. So the atomic beam would be deflected into 2j plus 1 values because of this mj, because mj can have 2j plus 1 values, components corresponding to 2j plus 1. However, I cannot plug this mj is equal to having 2j plus 1 values. Actually, this is the vivid confirmation of this. We will get this result that mj has 2j plus 1 values, because this is what quantization says. Well, this is what space quantization will also be coming out, sort of coming out from this. Okay, theory. So the atomic beam would be deflected into 2j plus 1 components corresponding to 2j plus 1 values of mj, giving 2j plus 1 traces on the plate. Okay, now for silver atom, 2 traces were obtained, and by measuring the separation between the traces, it was found that from the last expression that gj and mj is equal to plus minus 1. Now if how can we get gj and mj is equal to plus minus 1? At the temperature of oven, the silver atoms in their ground state. So in the ground state means the system for L is equal to, now for this state L is equal to 0 and J is equal to S, then J is equal to L plus N. If L is equal to 0, then S is equal to plus half value, as the spin is half, having ms is equal to plus minus 1 by 2. So J becomes equal to S, and this S is equal to 1 by 2. So the 2J plus 1 value comes out to be 2, hence there will were two traces. Okay, so further gj comes out to be gs only, and you can calculate it gj actually using this relation Landesi factor, and we will get gj is equal to gs is equal to 2. So mj is equal to ms is equal to plus minus half, as postulated by spin hypothesis. Gj and mj is equal to plus minus half. Okay, this is what the spin hypothesis says, and one relation we can get from here, the spin hypothesis, and one relation we can get from here, that by measuring the separation between the traces, it was found that from the last expression gj and mj should be equal to plus minus 1, because all these value can be calculated, that can be put into the relation, and the separation, the distance, the separation here can be obtained. This separation can be obtained, okay, with respect to plus minus values. So this was our total discussion on Stern-Garlick experiment, that in the ground state we will have, and this can also explain the spin factor as well, that the particle or the electron in ground state having L is equal to 0, S is equal to half, the space quantization will be into something like this, half with respect to half L1 minus half L2 depending on the ms values. Okay, so this is also the explanation, like here is a diagram, you can understand that magnetic field direction is z direction, then the space quantization of spin quantum number is something like this. Okay, there are two possible orientation of spin vector x with respect to the magnetic field, and this just came out from this. You can understand this phenomena, the space quantization phenomena from Stern-Garlick experiment. Okay, so this was the total discussion on the Stern-Garlick experiment, and try to understand this one, because this is very important in according to your examination point of view. Okay, thanks.